Want to know where you're supposed to go in your home if you find yourself under a tornado warning. When you're actually under a warning is not the time you want to be scrambling. Well, thanks to our virtual view technology, I'm standing in LA where rounds of rain funneling in and fueling a flood threat. We'll say that 5 times fast. Fueling a flood threat for Southern California. Be on the lookout for coastal flooding. There's also the risk for landslides, mudslides. We're seeing some indications, some of that already. Ventura County needs to be on very high alert. The flood watches are up and the rain is going to continue for the next few days. So it's not just a one and done today. We're continuing this into at least early Wednesday for a lot of these areas before you finally get a break. And because of that, we're going to see all of this adding up. We've got that risk for flash flooding. You can see here highlighted for soil that is already so saturated. We have had such a wet February. We're so far above average in terms of rainfall for, say, Los Angeles, that adding any more to this is just exacerbating the issue that we're already seeing. So when you're talking about rain for your morning commute, rain for your afternoon commute today, continuing overnight into Tuesday morning, another day of rain for your commute there in LA, both morning and afternoon. That's continuing into Wednesday as well. Now you'll notice by Wednesday lunchtime, we start to see this breaking apart a bit. But by then, we'll already have picked up maybe a couple inches in some places. You can see some of that rain, especially as you look up into the LA County mountains out there. We're going to see inches adding up, and we could see locally higher amounts. So that forecast that you're just looking at, 2 to 3 inches, that is a broad brush. Now, we're looking at that snow and rain falling in the higher elevations here, Sacramento, San Francisco, just a few light showers around currently. But as Jim was just pointing out, we do have that risk for severe weather, the Sacramento Valley included in that. A Torcon of 3 means a few tornadoes are possible, but all it takes is one at your home or where you're driving to ruin your day. So make sure you keep an eye on that weather. We've got the atmospheric profile, the winds with height really shifting and changing, so that is going to lend itself to rotating storms. Not to mention we have gusty winds in the forecast, so even outside of, say, a severe storm reaching tornadic limits or reaching severe limits, those winds are going to be gusty anyways. You've got that wind advisory in Sacramento. Now, Southern California is on alert for this atmospheric river event that we're talking about. We have national correspondent Justin Michaels in Montecito, a place still reeling from deadly mudslides just 6 years ago.
On the way for you guys. It's feeling like spring for so many. It already has been a mild February after we got that Arctic blast in January. It's been warm ever since. And you can see Chicago stepping up the ladder here. Average high 37 for mid to late February. We are going to get up to 60 degrees on Wednesday. We do cool it down by the end of the week, but even the low 40s by Friday, that is still going to be above your average high for this time of the year. So we do see the warmth starting in the southwest and southern plains and then kind of spreading out across the east. Northeast, you're going to have to hold on a little bit longer. I know it's feeling very cold this morning. Wind chills are in the single digits. You've got temperatures in the teens. But as you can see by tomorrow, 135 million above average. Not quite New England yet, but as you can see by Wednesday, we get more of the Northeast involved, and we're talking about 150 million above average, and by a lot for some of you. So we could be flirting with records. Here's a look at the 10 to 20 above average for today, all the way up to the Canadian border. The icebox of the nation, International Falls, not really feeling like the icebox with temperatures actually going into the upper 30s and low 40s. We should be 20s in a place like Minneapolis. There are your 50s and 60s down toward the south. We'll start to see more 70s breaking out and even 80s. And by the way, the first 80-degree temperature typically for places like Raleigh and Atlanta, you got to wait until the end of March. It has happened before that, obviously, but Nashville, you typically wait till March 29th. But for New Orleans and Dallas, it's right about now when we start to see some of those 80s popping up. And we will be flirting with 80 in a place like Dallas the next couple of days as we spread out that warmth. 15, 25 degrees above average, and even getting into the eastern Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast where you just had that snow. So there will be a significant snow melt going on across the Ohio Valley. There's that 79 degrees in Dallas on Wednesday. Felicia, I think a lot of people are going to be turning up the AC rather than the heat.
I don't know, Kelly. I think flirting with the 80 is my favorite thing to flirt with this time of year. Perfect. All right, well, let's head overseas for Monday morning front lines.
Exactly.
Severe
Non-thunderstorm. Yep.
You're going to have problems regardless.
Yep.
Well, thanks to our virtual view technology, I'm standing in LA where rounds of rain will funnel in, have already been funneling in, and that's going to fuel a flood threat for Southern California. You want to be on the lookout for coastal flooding as well. There's also the risk for landslides and mudslides. Ventura County needs to be on very high alert. The flood watches are up, and the rain will continue for the next few days. So I know we're just kind of tossing it all at you guys, but there's a lot to take in, so we want to make sure you're ready for it, especially when you're talking about the type of rainfall that we've already seen during this wet season. You can see February really sticking out. Typically for the month to date in February, we'd have over 2 inches of rain. Instead, we're at 10.5 inches. So you can tell that ground is so saturated from that atmospheric river that we had earlier this month. So when you're adding on more rain, you know that's going to cause problems, flash flooding possibilities throughout today into early tomorrow. LA, Long Beach, Santa Ana, Newport, all included in that. And here's why. That rain already coming in this morning for your morning commute. It's sticking around for your afternoon commute today. And then we do it all over again.
Santa Barbara Airport in Closure closed due to flooding on the airfield. Commercial flights have been canceled. General aviation operations are paused at this time as the terminal is closed. And we've seen issues not just with flooding, but mudslides and rock slides blocking certain roadways, including Highway 101 in Santa Barbara County. And over the weekend, we saw some evacuations taking place in Santa Barbara County as well. We do have ongoing flash flood warnings, places like Mendocino, seeing a lot of rain. Montecito, I should say, 2 to 4 inches over the past several hours. We've had flooding in the Central Valley of California as well. Various roadways that have been impacted here and in fact completely closed down due to too much water flowing across the road and getting cars stuck, unfortunately. And you can see all the flood reports stretching from San Luis Obispo right on down to Santa Barbara. And unfortunately, this is really just the beginning. This rain is going to continue to be with us all day today. We've got the rain in the forecast for tomorrow as well, and even that severe threat for today across the Sacramento Valley. We cannot rule out the possibility of isolated tornadoes in this situation, including Sacramento. Flash flooding is a possibility. In fact, it is a likelihood. It's already happening. It's already playing out. So you see the yellow right down here towards Santa Barbara, but even that darker green all the way up to San Francisco, where there could be some airport delays starting after 7:30.
Let's take a look ahead to the T-Mobile coast-to-coast forecast and give you a peek at temperatures in your area as you plan your travel for the week ahead, because as Jim has mentioned, it's going to be a little bit of an up and down for some of us. Here's what we're looking at today. You can see the big focus of most of our active weather out west, stretching into portions of the Rockies. Quiet for much of the country. This is what we're looking at by tomorrow. Mid-60s in Kansas City. You can see that warmth spreading north into places like Chicago. NYC 36 for you for tomorrow. By Wednesday, hump day, we're still seeing some of that active weather for the western portions of the country. Looking east, 68 in Kansas City. Beautiful, beautiful midweek. By Thursday, we've got rain overspreading the Ohio River Valley. That is going to be a cold rain for some of us. Meanwhile, 50 degrees in Denver, 52 for Denver on Friday as well. Miami, you're up into the lower 80s. Meanwhile, the rest of the eastern portions of the country on Friday are looking at rain and even the possibility for some active weather and winter weather across the Northeast. Saturday looks gorgeous. We had some reports of, rocks across the highway, the flooding that's going on. So it's already messy.
Especially around the burn areas where we've had fires. You have that lack of vegetation holding everything in to the slope side. And we've already seen tremendous amounts of rain in the southern part of California, with more to come as that storm moves ashore.
Now, we have flood watches up for wide areas, but we are also already seeing flood warnings. You see this here, flash flood warning for Santa Barbara and Ventura counties. This has been ongoing for a while. This is until 10:30 local time, and it is observed. So there is flash flooding ongoing. That's not just radar indicated there.
Montecito is seeing anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. We remember what happened there several years ago, the deadly mudslide. We are going to be monitoring all this rain. Santa Barbara County just continuing that flood warning right through later this morning. And there are all the reports compiled by the Weather Service affecting some of the highways and streets here.
Yeah, you're seeing the flooding, the boulders across the highway. And it's not just the flooding that we're concerned with, but it's also other types of severe weather, the hail, the gusty winds for the Sacramento Valley, and also that isolated tornado threat.
It can happen. We've seen it before. This time of year, it is our rainy season, our stormy time of year, so tornadoes cannot be ruled out. As we look at the wind profile for a place like Sacramento, we have winds accelerating in speed with height and a little bit of turning going on as well.
Yeah, we've got the perfect setup for some feisty storms, so make sure you know where to go in your home if you find yourself in a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. It's going to be ongoing throughout the day today. Will it be raining everywhere all the time? No, but will you have those pockets of heavy rain continuing? Yes.
And there will be heavy snow for the Sierra.